So let's get started. It's a little bit after 8, and I see that several of our members are here, and you're probably really excited about getting started and really going to Cuba for New Year's Eve. So let's start right now with just a little bit of I I have so much enthusiasm about Cuba. I can't even contain myself. We have all been there in the last year. This is the 4th cruise that we've done as a group with Singles Travel International. We had previously been doing land programs, and this cruise that we're offering is just the most a unique way to take advantage of getting to know Cuba and giving us a very reasonable way to do that. When you go to Cuba, there's so many things about it that make it unique. It's just such a different place. And I've been to a lot of different destinations in the world. But one of the things that I have to tell you that no matter how many pictures I've seen and videos and things on YouTube, it was so surreal when I got off the ship and started walking across the street in Havana and saw all those vintage cars, horses and carriages, little bicycle, they call them BC taxis, where the guys are pedaling. And I felt like I stepped back in time, and you're going to feel the same way. So it's different. The experience is authentic. You're going to really get to meet the people and see what it's like to be in Cuba. We have a lot of expectations and a lot of information from this side. And now you're going to get to go and see firsthand for yourself and meet people and talk to people. And you're going to learn a great deal. It's going to be a very educational program. The auspices for our trip is the People to People program, which gives us the privilege and the obligation to attend lectures, and we'll have cooking demonstrations. All of our tours are included, and we're just going to learn everything that we possibly can about Cuba in 7 days. And I'll tell you what, I'm like a walking history channel right now. I just got so much out of the experience, and I expect that you will too. I want you to enjoy the people and connect with them and take away really good memories of this vacation. And the program that's put together is so very well thought through. It's mature, and everybody who's involved in the program is excellent. So look forward to that, and I can't wait to hear about your stories when you come back. So right now I'm just going to, we're going to do a little bit of a poll here, and I just want to know, what is the #1 reason for traveling to Cuba? So in order for me to launch this, I think I have to get back to my control panel, and I'm going to launch the poll. And you guys should see this on your screen now. What is the #1 reason for traveling to Cuba? So if you would select one of those for me and then submit it, I think that would be very helpful, and we would appreciate that very much. So go ahead and click off. Well, I know that when I was thinking about going to Cuba, the thing that I love everything Latin. So I speak Spanish. I lived in Spain for a while, and I just look forward to talking to everybody. And I was curious. I had so many questions about Cuba and how it all worked, right? Knowing that it's communist and what that all meant. And so I think it would be interesting for you to kind of not only, thanks for taking the poll, but jot down for yourself, what are some of the expectations that you have about Cuba, and then visit that when you come back to see if it met your expectations or if it was totally different. And I have a feeling it might be. So thank you guys so much for doing the poll. I really appreciate it. And now I'm going to go back to our presentation. Let's see. Let's hope that that is working. Alrighty, there we go. So I created a checklist with a compilation from the concierges who have gone on the trip, plus the trip that we took in the recent weeks, just to get you ready, the things that you really want to engage in the next 6 weeks before your departure, because it's actually less than 6 weeks away. So the first and most important thing is that everybody needs a valid passport, and it should be good until July 5th of 2018. This is not always common knowledge. People think that their passport is good until the day it expires, but in essence, most countries want you to have a valid passport for at least 6 months from the day that you leave. So double check your passports now, today, tomorrow, in the next couple of days. If it is expiring before July 5th, you have some time. So go ahead and do that due diligence for yourself. I'm going to talk about language. I think it's really important to know that not a lot of people speak English in Cuba. And if you do plan to connect a little bit, and I hope that you do, just a couple of simple words. It's such a gracious and kind gesture for you as a visitor to any country. Just know a couple of basic words just to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to talk to you about that today. Make some book recommendations. I'm going to tell you about the shopping, of course, and then I'm going to tell you how to get your money in order so that you're able to do the shopping. Lots of questions about communication in Cuba. We have some excellent packing tips, and there are still some options available for our members. And we definitely want you to book those before December 1st so that we can organize everything with the locals. And Janelle is waiting for everybody's flight information because a lot of our package includes your transportation. And in order for us to serve you, we do need your flight information in time so that we can arrange that for you. And then, of course, if you've traveled with us before, that you know 14 days before departure, we publish what we call the final vacation details and meetup information. It goes onto the website. It's a PDF document, and it has all of the fine details for your first couple of travel days, where you're going to meet up with the concierge team. And by the way, it's Georgia and June for this cruise because we're just about to 90 passengers right now. So we're super excited. It's going to be a killer New Year's Eve in Cuba. And I know you guys are super excited. So we'll talk a lot about that at the end of the presentation as well. But there's a checklist of things that are coming up before you depart. So let's start with the credentials. As I said, passport, absolute. Now, everybody asks, how can we go to Cuba? Well, we are going under a program that's called People to People, and we have included your visa. So that's already taken care of. I just want to show you a snapshot. It will be delivered to your cabin the first day when you board. You will complete it. You can see in red, it shows you the information that's going to be added. It's very simple, but it's super, super important that you guys put the information in duplicate form precisely, no mistakes. And your cruise director and Georgia and June will also explain this once you're on board. They're very particular. So you're going to keep this visa with you each time you get off in every port, and they stamp it. You have a choice to stamp your visa, or you may stamp your passport. Some people don't want to, but it's definitely your choice. And if they are not stamping it, then you can go ahead and ask. You can ask for that. So the visa is included. All you need is your passport, Canadian or US. Let's talk a little Spanish. As I mentioned, not everybody speaks English. So here are some of my favorites for translating just one word. Let's say I want to know how to say hello. So I can put hello in Google Translate, and it will come up with a translation for me right away with a verbal. So if you're just looking for a one word and you want to be able to say it, Google Translate, I think, is the quickest. Now, these are apps that you're able to download onto your phones, and Babbel is another one that I recently tried, and that's more of like a lesson driven. So if you're a little bit more motivated and you want to spend some time and learn some Spanish, Super duper easy. Anytime you have like, a moment, maybe you're sitting waiting for a class, or, just doing something for a couple of minutes and you have time to spare, open up Babbel, and they're very short little quizzes where they test you on Spanish. It's a little bit of a guessing game, and then they pronounce it for you as well, so you learn the right pronunciation. Sometimes that's actually very important. If you say it the wrong way, you may not always get the right answer. I have lots of stories about that. I think the main thing about trying your Spanish is try to, well, we're all a little intimidated because nobody wants to look like funny or maybe feel a little stupid. But I can tell you that in all the years of my travel and all the languages, and I put my foot in my mouth a lot, but it's always so welcomed by the locals, even when I just know a couple of words. And they'll be very surprised. In Cuba, they were all very surprised to hear me speaking Spanish to them. So it opens up a lot of doors. And then there's this little couple, they're so adorable. I don't know their names, but their website is mytanfeet.com. So if you Google them, My Tan Feet, or what I did was learn to speak Spanish, and the link is here. We're going to record this, so everybody will have a link with the recording, or I just Google them. They have a video. They've created this little pamphlet, and the reason I'm including this is because when we get to Cuba, there's no internet connection, right? So you can do all this in advance with Babbel and Google Translate on the ship, but if you want to walk around in Cuba and have a little something, this mini guide that they've created is perfect. I took a look at it. It's got salutations and a little bit about directions and food and the very basics. So I'm recommending any one of these three, but I would strongly suggest that you download the mini guide. What to read before you go. If you're not a reader, that's fine. You're going to be completely immersed on this cruise, and I can probably guarantee that after the cruise, you're going to want to pick up a couple books because it's so intriguing. Again, the United States has this very long and complicated relationship with Cuba. And there wasn't just the one revolution with Fidel Castro, but we also were involved in the Spanish-American War with Cuba in the middle. So we've been kind of related to them for a very long time. And the first book that we're recommending to you, and there are so many, I just wanted to give you a feel of the different eras. So Old Man and the Sea is written by Ernest Hemingway, and he was super involved with the Spanish-American War. And you may have seen him, and there's a movie about him in his participation. And a lot of Americans actually went to Cuba to help the Cubans in this endeavor. So that was kind of the first revolution. And Jose Marti, you're going to hear about him a lot. He is the absolute hero of Cuba. He was the hero for Che. He was the hero for Fidel. He's the hero for the entire country. And he's also the author of the poem from which the song of Guantanamera is derived. So great book, Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. In the middle here, now we're moving forward in history. Che Guevara, A Revolutionary Life. Che was absolutely dedicated to helping the entire Latin America, Asia, and African nations come up from imperialism. So he was from Argentina. He was not Cuban, but he connected with Fidel Castro in Mexico in the 50s. And together they overtook Cuba, and it is in the state it is today, which is communist, because Che believed in that governmental model. So he's a very interesting character. Great read on him. You're going to see his face everywhere in Cuba because, again, he's a national hero, along with Fidel Castro. And then this last book that I chose is a kind of a newer one. It's called Trading with the Enemy, and it's about a journalist who went to Cuba, and it's only 8 years old. So he really got a chance to visit the country and have some conversations with Cubans, and it'll give you some insight about what it's like to be in Cuba today. So the author is Tom Miller. And if none of these look interesting before you go, maybe you want to pick them up when you get back. you are also able to buy a lot of books in Cuba in both English and Spanish. So lots of good reading. And I have a feeling that when you come back, you, like me, are going to want to read. Actually, I picked up a new nickname. My name is Che Tamara because I'm so intrigued and so enthusiastic about Cuba. Not that I'm going to create a revolution by any means, but I just can't stop talking about Cuba. On the subject of shopping, we have 4 places that we'll be visiting. Not everybody is coming in early to Montego Bay, but a good portion. I think we have probably a 40 or 50 that are coming into Montego Bay, Jamaica. So everything in Jamaica is all about the rum, the coffee, and anything Bob Marley. Yaman. Our 3 ports of call in Cuba are Santiago de Cuba, Havana, and Cienfuegos. I listed a little bit of the things that you're able to get in each of these locations. And some of it is available in all of them, but in Santiago de Cuba, for example, when you go to El Moro, which is going to be the very first tour, look around. Sometimes we think, oh gosh, I have time. I don't really, I'll just get this later. But there were unique things in every place. So if you see something in one of these locations, I would recommend buying it. The sculptures you can get in Santiago de Cuba or Cienfuegos. And they have this really neat way of carving out of a special wood that only comes from Cuba, sculptures that are all one piece. So that was something I hadn't seen before. There's artwork everywhere and beautiful, beautiful pieces from anywhere from $20 to $2,000. I'm going to explain a little bit about that too today because I think it's important for you to know in advance. Musical instruments are a big deal. All kinds of jewelry and books, as I said, in Havana. So here's a little bit of an idea of the things that you're able to buy. And now I'm going to actually talk about the money. But before I switch slides, I wanted to say that in Cienfuegos, I really loved the little vendor section that they put outside the cruise ship. I felt like I saw some unique things that I hadn't seen anywhere else. There were some very pretty bags that were hand made. There was clothing and jewelry. So I thought that's a great place to spend your kook. That's what the Cuban dollar is that you'll be using, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. So keep your eyes peeled, and if you see something you like, buy it when you see it. And the prices are reasonable everywhere, pretty much. I got my bongo drum for $20. Cigars are the big deal. I know a lot of the guys and maybe some of the ladies want to bring them back for gifts, and you're going to have a really extensive presentation on board by Dr. Arrocha. He is the main presenter. He's a doctor of philosophy. He's 32 years old, and he's super interesting and engaging. Do not miss any of his, I hate to call them lectures. It makes it sound boring, but he's nothing but interesting. So when he talks about the cigars, he spends an hour going over everything, and then he'll help you. He'll answer your questions afterward to make sure that you get what you want. But the one thing I do remember from him was only buy the cigars in the authentic cigar stores, because that is where you're getting Las Habanas, which are the handmade, hand-rolled cigars. You will be offered cigars in the streets from any number of vendors, but what he said was it's just going to be banana leaves. So unless you like to smoke banana leaves, then I would recommend buying your cigars in the store. And on your tour the second day in Havana, your guide is going to take you to a cigar store. So you'll have a chance. And I think they're ranging from $10 to $30 and up. So that's in range. And if you are a cigar smoker, an aficionado of cigars, you're going to be in heaven. And something that I think that might be one of those mysteries, are we allowed to bring them back? You sure are. I actually read the OFAC rules today just to be prepared, because they told us that on the ship, but with the announcement last week, I wanted to make sure we're still kosher there. And you are absolutely allowed to take in as many as you'd like, as long as it's for personal use. no resale at this time. Same goes for the rum. Is unlimited rum, and you're going to do, actually you'll do a rum tasting on board the cruise, and Dr. Arrocha will tell you all about that as well. Started by the Bacardi family a long, long time ago. So you'll be tasting a lot of rum. Still talking about shopping, I wanted you guys to see in advance this artist named Jose Fuster. You do get a chance to visit. This is his backyard. Pretty cool. And if anybody's been to Barcelona, you might say, oh, it looks a little bit like oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. Park Güell in Barcelona. And so you'll get to go up and climb on all these things, take pictures just as we did. We could not take pictures of his personal artwork because it's one of a kind, and you do have a chance to buy his art. So Jose Fuster, if anybody wants to write that down, we saw a lot of people trying to buy. These are some of the other things that are in his backyard that were of interest. You were able to buy his artwork, but because they're originals, those are the pieces that I saw that were running up toward maybe, 1,000, 800, 1,000, 2,000. So you definitely want to make sure you have enough money if you are interested. So look up Jose, see if it's the kind of artwork that you're interested in, and then be prepared with your money. So let's talk about the money. I guess what I would say is whatever you think you need, bring double the amount. So if you think you normally might spend 500, I would say bring 1,000. I spent about probably like 400 or 500 when I was there. I'm not a big shopper, but I did buy, I used taxis. I bought lunch in a couple of places, and I bought a bongo drum. I got maracas for free because I played in a band. So you may too. I'll show you that picture later. But the reason why I say bring double, you can always bring it home. It's not a problem. But if you run out of money when you get to Cuba, you have no option. Literally, you've never been any place like this. You just don't have any option to get money. There's no ATM on the ship. So if you don't think I'm serious, you'll find out when you get to Cuba. You really need to bring enough money to cover yourself and then some. And at the end, I'm going to talk about some of the expenses so you're prepared. Each time you land in a port in Cuba, there's going to be a little booth in the lower left-hand corner. You can see on my screen here. It's called a cadeca, or in English, currency exchange. Each place looks a little bit different, but they're all open as soon as everybody gets off the ship. It never took very long, so don't worry. The lines are, they move pretty fast. If you're exchanging USD, there is a 13% fee for that. So some people ask, well, maybe I should exchange to euros or Canadian dollars before I go because then you get an even exchange. However, for my personal opinion, I'm kind of busy. If I'm going to bring $500 or $600, you're talking about maybe $75 that I'm going to lose on the exchange. But if I exchange to Canadian or Euro, I have to pay a fee to do that. And if I don't spend it all, I'm going to pay a fee to bring it back to my USD currency. So you don't have to follow my advice. Some people want to save that $75, but do the math and understand that you're going to pay to exchange into that foreign currency and back again. But good news for our Canadian members, they're always telling us how much they have to pay extra because of their currency being worth less. So this is a great destination for the Canadians. It's even money. So if you are going to exchange, I would go for Canadian because we get better value for the Canadian dollar than we do for the euro. And then go ahead and bring your Canadian dollars and you'll get a 1-to-1 value. At the end of the cruise, the very last port is Cienfuegos. You will be able to convert your dollars or your CUC back to USD. And as I said, you may just spend it at the market when you get there. So a little bit about the money. You're going to hear about this in great detail, but there are 2 different currencies in Cuba. One is called the CUC, one is called the CUP, C-U-C, like Charlie, Uncle Charlie, and Charlie Uncle Papa. The coup is the currency that is earned by the Cuban nationals. They make on average $30 a month, and they are receiving rations to this day, still from 1959 until today. And Jorge is going to tell you all about that on the cruise. So the main thing for you to know is when you get your money, and I never came across anybody trying to take advantage, and that's one of the beautiful things about Cuba. Not only did I feel very safe, there was no crime, there was no malintent, um, and and so I didn't find any occasion where anybody tried to kind of take advantage. But you want to make sure on the front of your bills it says the convertible peso. So that means that's the CUC. And all of the money I exchanged in all the markets and at the Cadecas was the CUC. But be mindful when you're changing your money that it does say convertible peso on the front, and you'll be okay. So rumor has it that there's no connection for your cell phones, no internet, nada in Cuba. And guess what? It's true. There is literally no way to do your normal Facebooking and tweeting or even phone calls while you're in Cuba. And there's a caveat in Havana where you are able to buy an internet card, and that is available in the port as soon as you walk off and pass immigration. Right before you go down the stairs, you are able to pick up a little card, but it's not very, from what we're used to, I think you'll be quite disappointed. So what we ended up doing, we just used the internet on board the ship. So just like any other cruise ship that you've been on, and if you're a first-time cruiser, you should know that the cruise line sells packages, and you're able to purchase those packages and then, load your pictures up and things once you get back on the ship. Now, it's great for pictures or texting, meaning the connection on board the ship, but it's still a little bit on the slow side compared to what you're used to at home with your high speed. So if you don't need to use the internet, not a problem. If you need to use it, exercise a little patience, because it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for those of you that are used to posting regularly. We were able to post all week using the internet from the ship, pictures to Facebook. We did our email. We posted blogs. The only thing that was a little bit that didn't work out great was videos. We found that Instagram video was the best, and even that was a little bit sketchy. So, be prepared. As I said, this is an immersion program. We're here for the culture. We're here to learn about a new destination. It is going to be different than it is at home, and sometimes it will be uncomfortable. So as we said in big black letters on the cover of our website, if you're not used to going with the flow and could understand change to the itinerary, and again, this is a communist country. It's not a democracy as we know it. So you don't have rights like we do at home. So demanding things and expecting things to be the way they are at home is just really an expectation that you want to put in your pocket right now, because it's not going to do anything but make you miserable. In Jamaica, free Wi-Fi at the Wexford Hotel for those of you who have added our pre-cruise package, but it is also slow. And anywhere in the island, I checked several different internet cafes, and they're all on the slow side. So enough said about that, but just be prepared. You have connection. You tell your family members that you will be able to connect while you're in Jamaica or on the cruise ship, but just not while we're in town in any of the ports. So as far as packing, the weather in December for both Jamaica and Cuba is going to be actually a little bit more pleasant than when I was there last week, but it's warm. So you can see it's about 84 degrees during the day. It doesn't really get much higher than that. And it does cool down a little bit at night. So think about that. Like when we go to Margaritaville, we're up on a terrace. We're going to need a little bit of a cover up. On board the ship, of course, there's air conditioning, so cover-ups are always great. But if you're in town in Havana, especially if you choose to do the Tropicana or the Tropicana, then you'll want to have a little bit of a light jacket. So comfortable summer attire for the daytime. It's casual. You don't have to be fancy. And, some people get concerned about, oh, should I wear gym shoes? I don't want to stand out. Well, guess what, guys? You're definitely going to stand out. Okay. They're going to know that you're not Cuban. So don't worry about it. Wear your comfortable shoes. Wear anything that makes you feel light and cool. My little picture over here where she says, I'm melting. And then her friends say, oh, knock it off. We're all hot. You're going to be warm because it's humid as can be in Jamaica and in Cuba. So even though if you come from California or the West where it's super dry, it could be a little bit uncomfortable. So be prepared with lightweight attire. I brought enough for the week so I didn't have to do laundry because it was very hot and I was sweaty the whole time. So we're air conditioned on the cruise ship, air conditioned in the rooms at the hotel, but the public space is not air conditioned in a lot of places. Well, our buses were air conditioned touring Cuba. We do a little bit of walking here and there. So nothing too arduous. If you can't walk very well, of course, June and Georgia will want to know that up front so they can keep an eye and make sure that we take care of you. But I didn't find anything too arduous or too lengthy. So I think most travelers will be fine. Sunscreen and hat, it's hot. Again, you're closer to the equator. And comfortable walking shoes, sandals and sneakers are fine. Shorts and t-shirts, again, casual for the day, not a problem. Nighttime aboard the ship is also casual. Just really probably no shorts in the dining room. Guys can wear slacks and like a polo shirt, and gals slacks or skirts. Just look nice. As our singles typically do dress a little bit nicer than the average cruiser. So if you have any more specific question, just let us know about that. Really important in Cuba, you're going to find a lot of places with no toilet paper nor even running water. Gosh, I was thinking we went to a friendship center, Centro de la Amistad, and they put on this beautiful show for us, and they gave us mojitos, and we're all having a great time and everything. And so I went into the bathroom, and there was like nothing worked. The sink doesn't work. There was no toilet seat, which is another biggie. So I don't know if you, you can sit on it. Some of you might. I mean, it's kind of interesting because you may have to squat in a couple of places, but having some tissue in your bag and some hand sanitizer, I think makes a lot of sense. You'll be happy that you did that. Happy roomies. If you're rooming with somebody, and I think in this case, a lot of people have their own cabin, which is great, but I recommend a power strip because there's only one US electrical current socket in each cabin. So if you have multiple things to plug in, you're going to want a power strip. And earplugs are great, especially in Jamaica. Our hotel is it's on the water, it's actually across the street from a park and then the bay. So there's a main street that runs in front of the hotel. And if anybody has a water view room like I did, you'll want to have some earplugs because you can hear all the boom, boom, boom of the Jamaicans who are having a good time at all times of the day and night. It's also excellent if you are sharing a cabin with someone. I live by earplugs. In Jamaica, there is also no hair dryers in the rooms, but there are hair dryers on the cruise ship. So if you're able to manage for a day or two, you don't really need one. If you absolutely have to have one with the humidity and stuff, then bring one for Jamaica. They don't even have them for rent. It's a very moderate hotel. We're going for an immersion. And because this is the highest season, being 2 days before New Year's Eve, very few hotels were offering a 1 and 2 night stay. So we chose a small family run property, modest, very clean, very well run. They would bend over backwards, and you're going to meet the crew in a minute when I show you my next slide. If you're taking the Dunn's River Fall excursion, which I highly recommend, you need water shoes. Bring them from home. If you don't have them, the guide will stop on the way. Her name is Tani Shea. She's our local transportation expert, and she will stop and you can buy them for $10. But if you have Tevas or Keens or something at home, you may as well just go ahead and bring them with you. And then the other thing that you want to prepare for is our theme nights. If you're a first timer with us, you may not be familiar with this, and sometimes it feels a little, maybe you feel a little timid about it, but our crew definitely likes to dress up. It's not mandatory, but it's a lot of fun, and it makes for great pictures and great memories. And so June and Georgia have created 2 theme nights for us that are very, very close and tied into Cuba. One is called the Guantanamera Night. And remember earlier I told you about Jose Marti? He wrote a poem because he was in love with a girl who lived in the countryside near Guantanamo. Everybody has heard about Guantanamo because of Guantanamo Bay, but that's what a Guantanamera is. A female, is a woman who's like a peasant woman, and you can see the picture over here on the right-hand side on the bottom. That's a Guantanamera, right? So she's the peasant girl, and she, in that case, in his case, his love was near Guantanamo. So here's some ideas for what to wear. And it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but guys, you see this Guanabara shirt on the top, and he's got the hat. So you can find this Guanabara shirt in a lot of stores, and then a pair of slacks. And girls, it's all about ruffles and flowers. So anything that you've got in your closet would work. You've got a little bit of time for this, but it's a lot of fun. And you're gonna see all the live shows on the ship and all the dancers. And I mean, it's kind of a nice, fun night to look sexy. And here are those sexy dancers. The other night that the team put together is called the Red and Black Elegua Orisha Night. Well, what does it have to do with the dancers? I really just wanted to have a visual of the black and red. So that night, our theme is just wearing black and red. And the history behind the Elegua Orisha, so the main religion in Cuba is Santeria. And you'll learn about that. And that comes because of the influx of the African slaves that came to Cuba, and they brought with them their own religion, and then they combined some of that with Catholicism, which is really interesting. Has nothing to do with the gods of Santeria, but you'll learn all about that. It's too much to cover in one webinar. But the theme for us is black and red. The show is in black and red, and you're going to hear a lot about Santeria when you're on this trip. So look forward to that, and bring something that's black and red so you can participate that night. And then, of course, we have New Year's Eve. We are celebrating the move into 2018 in Havana, and we are going to be, well, actually, it's New Year's Eve is going to be the day before we arrive in Havana. It's on a Sunday night. We get into Havana on Monday. So wear your best. Well, everybody on the crew will be in tuxedos and gowns. That's not an obligation, but if you have that kind of attire and you want to wear it, you would certainly feel comfortable. Most of the cruisers are a little bit more toned down and would wear something what we call cocktail style. So for ladies, that's a pretty dress, but it doesn't have to be full length. And for gentlemen, it means maybe a jacket with a collared shirt, and a tie is optional. Okay, so we want you to be comfortable. It's your vacation. You will not feel out of place in either format. So we just wanted to share that with you. But New Year's Eve would be another kind of theme night for us. We have a lot of good things in store. They're going to have a lot of parties on board the ship. Let me talk about what's included. It's on the website, and most of you probably know, but let's kind of cover what is, and then some other things when I talked about budgeting for your trip, what you might want to do to plan for that. So your cruise fare, of course, your Cuban visa. I don't know if you know, but all your unlimited drinks are included. All day long, you can order drinks. Now, the Celestial Cruise Line does have a little bit of an upgrade if you're interested for $10 a day. you're able to do a very high premium end of liquor, and they'll give you plenty of chances to do that when you get on board. But I found that the regular program had a very good selection of rums and vodkas and scotches that I didn't feel a need to upgrade the $10. So probably most of you will not need to. We drank mojitos and we drank daiquiris. We had everything that we wanted to, beer, wine, all included. There is also an upgraded wine list at dinner each night, and you're able to buy bottles for an additional price if you'd like to, but they pour very good red and white wines with dinner. That's included. Your tour, there are day tours included in every port. So each day you have at least one tour. Some days you have two. All meals aboard the Celestial Cristal are included. Excellent cuisine. We'll see some of that later. All the lectures about Cuba, culture, history, cigars, rum, politics, everything you have questions about will probably be covered by Dr. Atosha. And if he doesn't, he always hangs out afterward and he's always available for questions and answers. Super interesting person. Latin dance classes, adorable Cuban dance instructors, probably over, I think there's over 30 to 40 Cubans that actually work on the cruise. And they will actually, well, the music, the band and the dancers don't speak English, but they're in the show mode, but all of the ones that you interface with speak English. And there's Cuban cooking demonstrations where you actually get to test the product after they finish making it. So we tried a lot of good tasty things, and they give you the recipe to take home. Gratuities to the Cristal staff is also included. Now, here are some things to budget for. There is a Jamaican departure tax. If you are in Jamaica for more than 24 hours, so you guys will have to declare that when you get to the custom booth at the cruise terminal on December 29th, they're going to ask you the question, when did you arrive? They could ask you to present your airline ticket. So if you're more than 24 hours, you're going to have to pay $25 in cash USD. No exception, no credit cards, no nothing. So I tried, but she absolutely wanted the $25 in cash. So you can start to see where cash is king. Because all these little surprises, I hope I'm revealing everything to you here, but you just never know what little trinket you may find. Gratuities to your STI concierge team. They're going to be doing a lot of behind the scenes. They already have. They've chosen the themes for you, and each morning they're going to be hosting breakfast club. They're actually working so that we have priority. We are going to have our own buses. You're going to have your own guides. We'll be the first off the ship. There's going to be a lot of VIP work that June and Georgia are going to be doing on your behalf, even though you may not even notice it. So we recommend, and it's always for a job well done, and I guarantee that you're going to love June and Georgia. They're super professional, and they go to the ends of the earth because they care so much. They really do. The ultimate professional. So we recommend 10 to 15 a day, and they will share that. So if you're one person and you're with them for 10 days, then there would be anywhere from 100 to 150, and they'll share that at the end. You'll get an envelope so that you are reminded about that at the end of the cruise. Dinner in Jamaica on December 27th. If you're coming in early to Jamaica, we of course have dinner at Margaritaville included in both the 1 and 2 night package. But if you're coming in for the 2 nights, we have a beautiful place lined up for you in Jamaica. And Tani Shay will take everyone down, and you'll just pay for your own dinner, but it's on the water. And we think you'll enjoy it very, very much. 2 lunches in Havana if you choose. The tours will end and then give you time for lunch. Some guests choose to go back to the ship because the guide will take you back on the bus to the ship. You may have lunch and then reconvene for your afternoon session. We chose to have lunch in Havana. Wanted to do like the locals did, and we had some really good meals while we were there. You know, on the subject of that, water, it's not necessarily ideal to be drinking water in different places, so always choose a bottled water. And before you get off the ship every day, water is included in your package. And so grab a bottle and bring it with you. You're allowed to bring one in. And so they have large and small bottles. So be sure to grab that before you get off the ship. Room service does have a surcharge. So if you're into room service for breakfast, take a look. The menu is clearly stated in your cabin, but that on most ships that's included. So beware of that. And internet on the ship is an extra charge. As well, our customs for any artwork that is on a canvas. So the sculptures and the musical instruments and those kinds of things are not maracas. They're not going to charge you a fee. But if you buy any artwork, they're going to assess, at least while we were there in the last month, it was 3 CUC one time. So again, have to pay cash. Budget for your shopping, we talked about that already. And then optional excursions with STI. So we have some things that are still available. We're going to talk about that right now. But there's your beautiful concierge team, Georgia and June, who will work tirelessly throughout the week. And they have experience in Cuba. Georgia's been on this program before. And so combined with the crew on board, they will work very hard to delight you in every possible way. If there's something special, like my goal when I got to Cuba was to play in a band. So I would have said to Georgia, I want to play in a band this week. So help me out, right? Well, that's what they're there for, to make your dreams come true. We really want your trip to be life-changing and a unique experience. So if there's something that you're looking for, like, do you want to meet the chef at our Paladar when we go for this special dinner? Let them know. His name is Carlos. Georgia already met him. She knows him. By the way, that's where Obama had dinner. So you guys are in fine company. So you let the girls know if there's something special that you're looking forward to on this cruise, and they will they'll do their very best to make sure that they make your dreams come true. And they'll do it with a smile. They will say to you, "It's my pleasure." So take advantage. Now, look at this beautiful crew at the Wexford Hotel in Jamaica. So sweet. I can't tell you enough. I felt like I was in their family. So any of you that are on the Jamaica option, if you're not on the Jamaica option, come on, let's go. It's available on the website. If you don't see it, call me, because I'm able to add space as we have it on request. We're pretty much going to do a hotel takeover. We have a lot of fun things planned, so you're able to come in for 1 night or 2 nights. And if you come in for the 2-night program, you're going to be able to take advantage of the Dunn's River Falls excursion. And there we are up above in this top panel. That's Robin and I at the falls at the very beginning. You can see we're having a great time. We got to snorkel, and then we got to dance and do rum shots and have all this great day. And it was very safe. They actually didn't serve us any rum until we snorkeled and we climbed the falls. And climbing the falls is up to you. You can do the whole thing. We did the whole thing. You can do part way. You can get off and take the stairs back down at any juncture. I highly recommend it, even if you've done it before, because we're on this boat called the Cool Runnings, and it's a blast. They make it so much fun. So please go online tonight or tomorrow and add the Dunn's River Falls on December 28th if you're coming in for the 2 days. If you are not going to do Dunn's River, we have some options for you, but this is really the best. I highly recommend it. And Tenny Shea will take you up, and she has some surprises along the way that make it a lot of fun. So just reminding you, you can see from the background, our hotel is a moderate hotel. It's not fancy, but these folks here are literally waiting for you to come so they can help serve you and make your 2 nights or your 1 night in Jamaica feel very special, and you'll feel like a local. The other option that we have is our Paladar dinner. And you may be wondering, what the heck is a Paladar? Well, that's a restaurant in Cuba, basically. And there are government-run Paladars. And now in Cuba, there are many enterprises. Because of Raul Castro and some changes that he made 5 years ago or so, there are now people or Cubans running their own business. Well, how can they do that? You must wonder, because everybody's given a job in a communist society. But these are people who decided to forego the job given to them by the government, and they have opened their own businesses, and they have to pay a very heavy tax to be able to do it. But they are entrepreneurs, and now they're running their own show. So this is Carlos Cristobal, and he is the chef. And we got a chance to meet him when we were there. He's been a chef for many years. He opened this restaurant in 2008, I believe, and it's the fourth best restaurant in the Caribbean. He just can't wait to meet us as well. He's had a lot of dignitaries, and including Obama. So some of you will be dining in the Obama dining room, and that's still available on our website. You just have to go to the website, click book now, and select that and check out. And we can't wait to have you try that. That's going to be on January 2nd, your second night in Havana. We have plenty of time, so you can make that. January 1st is open, so we've got two options for you. The Tropicana, which is the famous Tropicana Club in the height of, in the 50s, the early 50s, right before Fidel Castro took over. This was the place to go. A lot of people from the US, the Mafia, JFK, Marlon Brando, everybody who was of fame and fortune. And a lot of people went to Cuba for vacation in those days because they could. So the cruise line offers this excursion, but their STI feels like we have a better option for you. And so for $115, we've got upgraded seats. So you're going to get better seats than you would then with the cruise line. And transportation is not included, but your concierge team, Georgia and June, will assist you with getting into a vintage car, because that's our recommendation. It's about $30 each way. And so you can put up to 4 people in the car. So you're really going to save yourself about $40, $50 doing it this way and have better seats. So we highly recommend Tropicana. That's going to be a once in a lifetime. And if that's on your bucket list, then you definitely have to do it. The colors, the headdresses just got bigger and bigger. It was an unbelievable show. On the right-hand side, there's another little restaurant that we found within walking distance from the ship called La Flota. And we have a group booked space there. And for about $39, we're going to give you a 3-course dinner, 1 drink, and a flamenco show. And you're able to walk very easily from the ship. So those are also on our website. Click book now, select them, and check out. Again, all of this, please do before December 1st. Want to show you a little bit now. That's everything on the options. There's one other option, actually. Let me say this before I move on to the dining, and that is your transportation. Janelle is working very hard to get all of that put together so that we can arrange your transportation on the arrival. If you booked our package in Jamaica, it's included. And also some members have purchased their transfer on December 29th and also on January 5th. If you purchased it, we need your information by December 1st so that we can organize it and book all the buses. So please do that before the 1st. So aboard the Celestial Cristal, nobody is starving. On the left hand, this is one of those days where they did the Cuban culinary demonstration. And I think that was bandeja paisa. That's the meat that goes along with it. And we all got to sample everything at the end, which was super delicious. This is the Helios Bar, and they use this platform for doing these special demonstrations. But this is the omelet station. So there's our friend who's cooking omelets. They have all kinds of buffet presentations every day, so you don't get a fair chance of doing the main seating dining room for breakfast, or you could do the buffet up at the top with the omelet station. Same thing for lunch as well as for dinner. Our group will be seated together at dinner each night at the same time. And because of our agendas and all of the excursions and everything, we'll be dining around 6:45 each night. So we hope that's good for some of you who like to eat a little bit earlier. But here's a sample. Beautifully laid out, super delicious cuisine. Each night you have about a choice of 5 entrees, probably five appetizers, 5 entrees, 3 desserts. And if there's something you don't like, you just let them know. They are just so happy to do what makes you. They're just happy to please you. So if there's something that didn't taste right, or you have a special dietary request, you just let Georgia and June. I think most of you put that on your reservations when you make them with us now, but let the girls know, and we'll make sure that you're attended to in that way. So I'm getting hungry now. I don't know about the rest of you. Drinks. Well, if you're in Cuba and Jamaica, you've got to be drinking the rum. Over here on the left, this is a picture of a Robin's Mojito. And there we are, having a daiquiri with Ernest Hemingway at a bar in Havana called La Floridita. So when you finish your tour the second day, you'll have some free time. We recommend, and Georgia and June can help you find that place. You got to at least have one daiquiri. It's $6. And there is my daiquiri on the right with my glasses up in front of it, just kind of playing a little bit fun, having those daiquiris there at La Floridita. And aboard the ship, of course, drinks are included. So try everything. Just wanted to kind of let you I don't want to give away all the surprises. There's so many wonderful things that you're going to see, and I'm going to let that unfold for you. But just wanted to give you an idea of how friendly the people are when you get down there. I know sometimes we Americans think that, maybe there's some unfriendly attitudes towards Americans. I've never found that to be true personally, and certainly not in Cuba. There's one of those BC taxis that I was talking about. This man on the left, he's going to pedal Shar back to the cruise ship for, I think it was 3 CUC. And we had just finished our daiquiri. So you're talking about a 10-minute ride while he's bicycling for 3 CUC. There's one of the street vendors in the middle. I bought peanuts. I bought some of the food. Most of it's fried, or, it's not fresh food, so you can probably taste all of these yummy things. And then there was a man over here just playing the trumpet. So I asked him to play a song for me, and I gave him, I think, 1 or 2 CUC for the pleasure of listening to him play one of my favorite songs. Here's some of the kids. So cute. One of the things you might want to do is, I'm going to talk about maybe donations toward the end of the presentation, but if you have candy, hard candies, or any kind of candy, bring that. You're welcome to hand that to the kids. They don't have the hangups that we do in the States about anything. You're a stranger. They'll love to get the candy. So that's a fun thing to do. And we'll see lots of kids. And this is right down in downtown Havana, near one of the stops that we make on our tour. These are your helpful crew and guides. Up on the upper left-hand side is Carla, and I hope that you meet her. She was awesome. She actually was my guide for the 2 days in Havana. There's one of the waitresses. This is our crew from Santiago de Cuba, both teachers who turned into guides, and you're going to learn about why that is the case in Cuba, with $30 being the average salary. Most people are turning to their own private enterprises and to tourism. On this right-hand panel, those are the spa. They are amazing. If anybody's interested in a massage, those two are great. They have beautiful rooms. And Danny, on the lower right-hand corner, is your cruise director, and he is the best one I've ever seen. I think we all agree. Super hands-on. It's such a small ship with 1,200 guests that you'll be able to interface with him. He's from Romania, and I'm not even going to tell you. You're just going to enjoy him morning, noon, and night. A lot of energy. Here's some more pictures. These are people you're going to meet. And on the left-hand side, I wanted to show you, I did fulfill my dream more than one time. I'm playing in a Cuban band. There's my maracas. This is at the market. Robin is filming me, and you can see there's a saxophone and a bass, and it's just fantastic. I mean, they're so friendly. It's unbelievable. I love Cuba. This man in the middle is working on a project in Cienfuegos. they're all donating their time to do these lithographs, and they're raising money for children with Down syndrome. So you'll learn about that when you go. On the right-hand side, this is a famous artist in Cuba. They're just trying to raise awareness for Cuba, for their neighborhood. It's called Freehand, and you'll get to see his work. And you can see it was kind of cool. He painted that flower for us, and just everybody's just so happy to meet us and share who they are. And I didn't feel restricted at all or kind of guided. So it's looking at those beautiful faces and the people and knowing that just like us, we have some very basic needs as human beings. We want to be loved. We want to be understood. We want to take care of ourselves and our families. And in that way, we're all very much the same. So come to Cuba with an open mind and put some of your thoughts behind so that you're open when you're meeting and touching these people. They do live in a different world than we do, and they have no idea what luxuries and what benefits we have living in the United States. But they're so open and friendly, and so I just say be an example, be a good example as an American, so that we're representing ourselves very well and in good light. So attend the lectures. These are things that make us a good example, because in learning, you're going to be able to be a more informed person, not only on the trip, but when you come back. Participate in the tours, ask questions. Everybody's willing to help. Smile. That goes a long way. Being friendly, just say hola. Hola means hello. I know some of you are going to work on your language, so I'm real proud of you for that. And just maintain perspective. As I said earlier, it is a communist place. We're in a simple hotel in Jamaica. It's going to be different. It'll be warm. Things are slower. Okay, that's the one thing. Nothing goes fast. So you put your patience hat on so that you're prepared, and just take a breath and wait and take in the sights and the sounds while things are happening. Because they're really doing it with love and the best that they know how. They just don't move very quickly. Now, we got some questions about after the hurricane, with Hurricane Irma and Maria. Some of the members called and asked, said, what can we do to help? And honestly, we didn't see, the north of Cuba was touched by Irma, but there wasn't the devastation that we're seeing in Puerto Rico and in St. Martin and so on and so forth. So rather than kind of have concern about victims of hurricane, that's not really an issue. But what is helpful are the things that I've listed here, based on my recommendation and talking to other guides while I was on the cruise, and being actually approached by people on the street asking me, do you have any lotion? Do you have any cream? So again, $30 a month, they're on rations, and there's this whole black market. And the only way that you can buy in the black market is if you have extra money. And so they're getting extra money from family members and or those people that are working in tourism. So there's a lot of people that are still in need, and these are the things that they are looking for and asking for. The deal is we're not really supposed to bring things in large quantities. So that's why I put the word discreet. So if it's of your heart, this is not mandatory, but if your heart says to you, I want to be able to bring something to people when I go to Cuba, these are the kinds of things that you can bring. Like for sure, the crayons and the pencils and the paper, when we go to the Down syndrome school in Cienfuegos, this is where June and Georgia will remind you to bring these items. But anywhere, and also the lotions, the soaps, the toothbrushes, the Band-Aids, healing creams, and musicians are everywhere. They're all over. So this is just you saying, I kind of, I'm much better off than the folks here in Cuba. I have some extra things around. We all have little things from hotels. So when you bring them down and you exit the ship, each port, you wouldn't bring 10 boxes of crayons. You're only going to be able to bring one. So if everybody, if 10 or 12 people bring a box of crayons, that'll be a nice gift to the Down syndrome school. When you get to this other schools, you can bring pencils and paper. But like I said, I found people on the street asking me for the lotions and the soaps. So if you have the razors, any of that, and you see somebody or they ask you, at least you'll have it in your purse and you can give it to them, or in your backpack. And so there'll be some other opportunities to share some of the things that you have. And like I said, it's not mandatory, but it's definitely doable. They will take it. I mean, I just met one lady on the street. She was quite elderly, and she saw my bag, and she was like, we were speaking in Spanish, and she just wanted to see everything that I had. She was willing to take whatever it was. And it came down to, I didn't have any lotion, but I had a long sleeve shirt that I had to cover up from the sun. And she was like, "What's that?" And I said, "It's my shirt." And she said, I'll take that." And I said, "Okay, here's," so I literally gave her the shirt off my back. This is not for everybody, but some of us out there just have those feelings. And so if you do have them, you will find people to receive your generosity and your gifts. So enough said about that, but I hope that covers it. If anybody has questions, let us know before you go. So back to the checklist once again for you to review. We're going to send this out in a video form, so you'll have it. And covering your passport, get your language down so you can be a great tourist. Read a little bit about Cuba. Get your money in order. Notify your family about the communication, and review your packing tips so that you're prepared for just those little things that will make your life a little more comfortable. Be sure to please book your options. If you're going to do La Flota or Tropicana or the Paladar, which already probably 40 of our members are doing the Paladar, get that in before December 1st. We don't want you to be disappointed. Send Janelle your information on flights, and then your final vacation details, and a cruise voucher will be delivered to you by December 15th. Okay, so one will be posted on the site, one will be sent to you via email, and that will be all the paperwork that you need to travel. We know that so many of you have been loyal to STI over the years, and for some of you, it's your very first trip. This is for everybody. Please share us with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We have a very nice referral program that anytime a new member that you refer books a trip, you earn $25. And we're offering a special promotion now for Cuba, not for New Year's Eve. Of course, we want you to tell more friends about the New Year's Eve cruise, but that's almost sold out. We are also promoting a cruise to Cuba in February of 2018. And so if even before you go or when you come back, because I know you're going to be so excited about Cuba, tell your friends. And if they book a cruise on the February departure, we'll give you a $50 referral. So if you add that to the survey that you fill out after your Cuba trip this month, that's $75 off your next trip with us. So we hope that you will take advantage of that promotion, as well as filling out your survey, and tell 10 friends. And I would be happy to pay you $500. That would be my pleasure. Mi placer. So at this time, I just wanted to show you this beautiful sunset off the back of the cruise ship, and see if there's any questions that we are able to entertain. I know I ran over a little bit over an hour, and I had a feeling that would be the case because I could talk about Cuba forever. And so I'm going to go back now and exit this presentation so that I can open up the module, the control panel, and see if there's any questions from you guys. And alrighty. So one question I got from Anne. Hi, Anne. Please confirm the expenses on the ship may be charged to a credit card. That's correct. So that format is just like any other cruise ship. You're going to give them your credit card when you check in. It's not when you check in. Once you board, you'll have to actually go to the front desk and give them your card, but then they will charge everything to your cabin and to that credit card. So it's really in Jamaica, you'll need cash. You are able to use credit cards, but when you're doing group dinners, I think cash makes sense because you're splitting the check, and so that's very helpful for Jamaica. And then in Cuba, everything is cash, no credit cards at all, cash only. So that's great. All right, so Susan asked about the money issue, specifically about Canadian dollars. So if I understand the question, I know it's when you don't do this every day, it can sound a little bit confusing. So if you brought US dollars, when you get off the ship, there's a change and exchange booth and you're going to change your money. So if you change 100 US dollars, they're going to take 13% off of that, right? So you're going to get $87. So you're giving 100, you're going to get 87. If you go to your bank and you buy Canadian dollars before you leave, there's probably, I mean, they go by an exchange rate. So let's say the exchange rate for the Canadian dollar right now is 120 to the dollar. So when you give a US dollar, you get $1.20 Canadian. I made that exchange rate up, but I do know that it's better that we get more Canadian with our US. So if you go to your bank and you buy, $500 worth of Canadian, you're going to end up with probably 600 Canadian dollars. And there might be a fee for doing that exchange. Sometimes they charge a fee, sometimes they just give you a lesser rate on that exchange because they make their money somehow. It's a bank, right? But so let's say if you give 500 and now you get 600 Canadian, when you get to Cuba, that 600 will be an even exchange. So if you give them 600, you're going to get 600 CUC, right? Or 100 Canadian, you're going to get 100 CUC. And if you're doing 100 US, you're only going to get 87 USD or CUC back. So I hope that I helped explain that a little bit better. So it's just a matter of how much you think you want to spend, and then how much is your bank going to charge you to make that Canadian dollar exchange. And then at the end, if you have Canadian money back, you want to change it back to US, you're going to have a fee for that too. So take that into consideration. I hope that helped you, Sue. If not, send. Okay, you said thanks. Okay, great. Now here's a question by Judy. Hi, Judy. I arrive in Jamaica at 1 on the 28th. Will there be something for me to do, or are there some sites I can see then? And how about dinner? So first of all, we're going to meet you at the airport. Everybody who bought our package is going to get a personal meet and greet at the airport. One of our concierge team will be there. They will deliver you to the driver so that you make your way quickly and safely to the hotel. Well, by the time you arrive at 1 and you clear customs and immigration and get your luggage, you're probably leaving the airport at 2, which means you won't be to the hotel till about 3. And then we're going to have a rum punch party, which is included in the package, probably around 5 or 6 o'clock. And then we all go to Margaritaville for dinner. And I believe the rum punch party is going to be at Margaritaville. So you only have about 2 hours to kill there, Judy. So by the time you get to the room and you unpack your stuff and get ready for dinner, there's probably not going to be a lot of time. What you can do, though, is you can walk across the street to the beach or walk down the street to another little beach club. If you want to just put your toes in the sand for a couple minutes, this is probably a great idea. That's possible within an hour or two while you're getting ready before the dinner time. Great, beach would be fine. Yes, it's gorgeous. So any other questions? I'll just wait another minute or so till to see if we get any more questions. I hope that it was super thorough. You're going to get a survey. If you would just let us know how you felt about the webinar. If you have any suggestions for improvement, please let us know. Did I say this? But I adore Cuba. And I'm just really excited for everybody, especially because you're going to be with such a lovely, large group of people and everybody like-minded, wanting to learn about Cuba. So Anne asked if I would make my PowerPoint presentation available. Yes, I'm recording this right now, and so unless you literally want the PowerPoint version, our plan is to post. We're going to put it up on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and then we'll put that link on the chat tomorrow so that everybody has access to it. And we'll probably send out a blast to everybody as well because not everybody attended tonight, so that you have a chance to review it at a later time. Is that what you were thinking about, Anne? Hey, Doug. How are you? Anne says that's good. Muy perfecto. Gracias. Oh, good job. Excellent. Excelente. So Doug asks, is there an online check-in for the ship? Nope. Nope. You don't have to do anything for checking in before you go. We are going to send you your cruise ticket and publish the final vacation details and meetup info 14 days before departure, which I posted as December 15th. So no need to check in online. And Susan asked, is there an option to eat dinner later? Yes, of course. I think you mean on the ship. Yes, of course. We're going to do a group dinner there's 2 dining rooms. We'll do the group dinner in the one dining room on the upper floor, actually on deck 5. And then there's another restaurant, one deck above, and that's open seating. So if you want to go in later, you're able to do that. And they also always have the buffet available on the top deck on 9. So you could do either option. Now, since the group is eating together as a group, maybe you might find some others that want to go do a little bit of a later dinner. And I'll tell you the reason why, Sue. The show always starts at 9 o'clock. And so by the time we come back from our tour and we kind of get ready, we have a little happy hour, we go to dinner at 6:45. By the time everybody shows up and we really start eating around 7, that's 7 to 8:30 is dinner. People want to start making their way to get to the show to get the good seats. So that's the main reason for that earlier dinner, but you're certainly welcome to eat late if you want to forego the show, but they're nice. The shows are excellent. Thank everybody. I believe we've answered all the questions. I really appreciate your attendance tonight, and I'll just wait for another minute. If I don't get any more questions, we'll say buenas noches, which means good night, and wish you all a great fin de semana, which is weekend. It's literally translated as end of the week, fin de semana. All right. Well, it looks like we've covered all the questions. I'm going to say to you now, buenas noches y muchas gracias, y que ustedes se divierten muchísimo en Cuba. Good night.